This video is brought to you by Ridge Wallet, who are offering a special Father's Day discount. Give your dad the wallet upgrade he never knew he needed. Click the link below or stick around to the end of the video to learn more. Gamers, happy Key 3 week. That's right, boys and girls, E3 is taking a probably permanent vacation, so Jeff Keighley has stepped in to fill the void, showering us with world premieres and surprise guest appearances and Doritos and anti-vape commercials. You guys remember those? Jeff's shindig is called the Summer Games Festival, and it's a calendar of events kicking off on Thursday, 11 AM PT, and after that you can expect showcases from Devolver Digital and Xbox and the Future Game Showcase and the PC Game Showcase and probably some other stuff we don't even know about yet. Best of all, your boy's gonna be there. Just a few hours after this video goes live, I'll be hopping on a plane to La La Land, where I'll be going hands-on with a whole bunch of stuff and rubbing elbows with all sorts of industry luminaries. People like Uncle Phil, or that guy who played Cuphead bad, or perhaps, if I can get past his wall of security, Todd Howard himself. To top all of that off, I am doing a podcast. I can't tell you who's on it yet, but I've been working on it with these people for the past 4 months, recording in secret. And now it's time to get this show on the road. We're going to record the very first episode right there in LA. It will air next week on this channel. Cannot tell you how excited I am for that. You're going to love the crew. Trust me, they're all awesome. So, as you can see, it's kind of a big week ahead, but the week past hasn't exactly been small time either. So let's take a look back. Here comes the news. Let's kick things off with the biggest news of the week, Sony's latest webinar. With Xbox shooting their shot later this week, Blue Team wanted to kick off the not E3 season by showing everyone how it's done, and they did not miss. In just over 35 minutes, Sony rolled out banger after banger, and it wasn't just for PlayStation consoles, mind you. PC got a look in too. The show opened with the gameplay reveal for the cautiously anticipated Resident Evil 4 remake. Let's take a look at some of the highlights.
Guess you, me, picked the wrongest spot to vacation, eh?
So, a few things here. Number one, this looks cool. The previous remakes were all either good or excellent. Resident Evil 3 struggled a little bit compared to the others, but Capcom have shown that they know how to breathe new life into these classic games without straying too far from what made them great. So plenty of reason to be optimistic about a remake of what many people consider to be the best Resident Evil game, and indeed, one of the best video games ever made. At the same time, Capcom have said that this remake is a new story that captures the essence of the original, and that's interesting. I mean, the original had a pretty out there story, but that was one of the things that made it awesome. So I'm hoping that Capcom don't overplay their hand with this one. Oh, and they also announced that they're working on PSVR2 related content for it, so you got to assume that a full VR port is coming at some point. Neat segue into the next reveal, Resident Evil Village is getting a VR port. Right now it's announced exclusively for the PSVR2, and it's a damn good thing too, because I shudder to imagine what PC modders would create with a fully VR-ready Lady Dimitrescu model. That would be terrible. But if you do happen to find such material, please send it to me so that I can ensure that it's properly reported. Thank you. Speaking of PSVR2, you can expect to see The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution on there, as well as the VR port of No Man's Sky. Flagship launch title for Sony's new headset, though, is going to be Horizon Call of the Mountain, a VR game set in the Horizon universe. We got a good look at some gameplay. Here it comes. That looks pretty rad. The Horizon world was already impressive in scale and spectacle, but to be able to walk alongside those tall necks and gaze up at their lofty disc-shaped noggins, I think that's going to be pretty special. Really looking forward to this one. Speaking of Horizon, Horizon Forbidden West got a surprise free update this week that includes a bunch of stuff like a performance mode for smoother frame rates, the ability to transmog gear, an ultra hard mode difficulty, okay? Most importantly though, it adds New Game Plus, allowing you to complete the game again using all of your gear and abilities you unlocked in your first playthrough. Absolutely spectacular game, and all of that stuff makes for a very good excuse to replay it. I promised the PC Master Race some sugar, and here it is. Spider-Man Remastered is coming to PC August 12th. As time goes on, the legacy of this game grows ever larger. It just passed a sales milestone of 30 million units, in fact, and deservedly so, because not since the Arkham series has a superhero game so perfectly nailed nailed every single thing it set out to do. PC gamers, you're in for a feast come August, and I'm hella jealous of anyone that gets to play this for the first time. Hey, here's something that should be on everyone's radar. As impressive as all of these AAA bangers are, I kind of feel like Stray stole the show. This was revealed some time ago, but this trailer showcased a hell of a lot more gameplay. This just looks awesome, and I'm not even a cat person. The visual design, the uniqueness of the premise, the soundtrack, this is just coming together super well, and we won't have to wait too much longer for it, since Stray's release date was just locked in July 19th, and it's coming to PS Plus Extra tier as a sort of free inclusion. Not bad. We're getting a Dead Space remake next year, but that's from EA. The people who made the original Dead Space formed their own studio, and they're making their own Dead Space, with blackjack and hookers. It's called the Callisto Protocol, and it looks like this. Callisto Protocol turned every head this week. The game is looking absolutely sick. It's got a release date, December 2nd. Cannot wait for that one. Sucker that I am for Sable and its art style, I gotta admit, I was pretty intrigued to see this one. This is Rollerdrome, and it's a hell of a unique premise. Part roller derby, part trick-based sports game, part third-person shooter. You roll around these gorgeously drawn environments, shooting the shit out of opponents like The Running Man, if it were a Mobius graphic novel, and instead of running, it's skating. I'm down for it. It's out on August 16th. Street Fighter VI was revealed by Capcom a few months back. That's when we got our first look at Thick Ryu. Back then, a lot of people looked at the boring-ass logo and thought, look kind of colorless and dull, doesn't it? Which Capcom says... The first gameplay reveal shows off a game that looks like a cross between Street Fighter and Splatoon, and everyone seems to be just fine with that. It also appears as though Capcom decided that Temco had pushed boob physics to their technological limits, and so set towards the next frontier, butt physics. Two big surprises coming from the Street Fighter VI trailer. The first is that it's going to include a commentary mode that will offer real-time commentary of on-screen action. Here's a snippet.
Hit them with a stopping box. More fuel for the fire. Cook them up. Breaking on them to lay down some damage without giving up ground.
Kinda cool, but you gotta guess that it'd get annoying after hearing the same lines one too many times. The other big ticket item, and it's really come out of nowhere, is the inclusion of a PvE adventure mode. Details on this are a little scant right now, but it appears as though you'll be walking the streets fighting people. I have no idea where they got the inspiration for this, but I'm down for it. Anything to avoid getting my ass handed to me in online matches. Besides, if I'm gonna get any ass handed to me, I'd like it to be Chun-Li's, thank you very much. The showcase's finale was the finale of Fantasy. Wait, I misread that. It's Final Fantasy XVI, and holy shit does this look good.
The chaos he would wreak would sweep all of Valisthea into the abyss.
Yoshi P has been flirting with the camera a little too much on this one lately, publicly disclosing details about the game's readiness when he wasn't supposed to do that. He got a nasty phone call from Square's PR department telling him to put a lid on it, but not to worry, since we got a release window for this one now, Northern Summer next year, which is sometime between June and September. Dashed are our hopes for a 2022 release. But hey, if Square want to take their time to polish this one to a brilliant shine, then I don't think we're going to be too upset about that. One absolutely spectacular piece of news coming out of this recent showing, though, was that Final Fantasy XVI's composer is Masayoshi Soken, the absolute genius who leads the music on Final Fantasy XIV. This guy is arguably the most talented music maker in the business right now, and to know that he's scoring the next numbered Final Fantasy entry, that itself is reason enough to be very pumped for this. Next year cannot come soon enough. So that was a wrap on Sony's State of Play, but did you think those were the only incredible, awe-inspiring, jaw-dropping gameplay reveals we got this week? Well, if so, hold on to your rings and get a load of whatever this is. While this may look like an Unreal Engine 5 tech demo made by a fan in their spare time, I can assure you that this is the next Sonic game, Sonic Frontiers. The footage you're seeing here is courtesy of IGN, who were given exclusive access to the game. So far, we've seen 7 minutes of really boring open world exploration and another 6 minutes of really awkward looking combat. There's just a lot wrong with this. Austin, bring up the old Sonic games. This visually distinct, full of artistic flourish and a color palette that grounds the Sonic universe. This game is unmistakably Sonic. You could take Sonic out of this, and if I asked you, what game is this, you'd immediately say Sonic. If I took the Sonic out of this, what would it look like? It'd look like those fucking Windows XP desktops, which is exactly the gag that's been doing the round this week on Twitter. Things are so dire for this reveal that the hashtag #DelaySonicFrontiers was trending earlier this week. Man, what is it with Sonic and fan campaigns designed to get something fixed? The campaign seems pretty justified since this game is out in around 5 months and this title does not look remotely close to ready. It's a little nuts that Sega thought this was ready for a public showcase, but here we are. The string of cursed 3D Sonic games looks to be continuing for a little while yet. Speaking of cursed games, why don't we check in on Abandoned? A game with a title a little too fitting since recent reporting seems to hint that the game kinda doesn't exist at all. You might remember Abandoned as that title revealed by PlayStation sometime last year after they secured the exclusive rights to it and showcased a trailer during one of their webinars. It seemed a strange gamed profile, especially from an unheard of developer, and speculation began to swirl that the whole thing was actually a Kojimbo prank and that he was going to surprise us all with the reveal of a new Silent Hill project. That all fell in a heap when it became pretty clear that Blue Box was an actual studio, but that their body of work was mainly just cancelled games and failed Kickstarters and scams. This week, GameSpot did an excellent piece going behind the scenes of Abandoned's development, and it seems to have a whole Wizard of Oz vibe going on, like do not look behind the curtain. GameSpot spoke to a number of people who were part of an exclusive Discord where Blue Box boss Hassan Karaman would chat with them about the progress of the game. They describe a man constantly overpromising and never delivering, quick to anger when challenged on his lack of progress, and who doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot of work. Apparently he spends his days and nights playing Rainbow Six Siege, while promised deadlines continue to slip into oblivion. Those close to Karaman are all but certain that the actual game isn't in development at the moment, and that Hassan is essentially trying to hustle his way towards funding so that he can make it, but the core concept of the game keeps shifting. Like apparently it's a vampire game now, but before it used to be about a rogue AI, and before that it was about a cult. It sounds like an absolute shit show, and I think we can pretty safely assume that this is never coming out. This is a big L for Sony's publishing team who signed this deal, but a big W for Kojima, who got a bunch of free press for doing sweet FA. Well played, you wily fox you. It's been a while since we've heard anything about the next Dragon Age game, but this week we did get a brief update from BioWare. The big news was the official reveal of the game's title. It's called Dragon Age Dreadwolf, and it continues to double down on Solus and his role as a mysterious demigod. Other than that, all the update said was that the game wasn't shipping this year, but we can expect to hear more about it later in the year, so perhaps a 2023 release date is possible, maybe 2024 at the latest. By the way, don't you think this logo is a little weird? I get serious Blood Dragon vibes from this color scheme, but I guess I'm just a little too thirsty for a Blood Dragon sequel. Hey, there was one other gaming showcase this week that you might have missed. It was called Warhammer Skulls 2022, and it was an event shouting out both current and upcoming Warhammer video games. I think it says a lot that an IP has so many video games in development that they need an entire festival devoted to covering them all. The scattergun approach has produced some famously mixed results, but on balance, it's better than EA owning the exclusive rights to Star Wars and only putting out like 2 games in 5 years. For more on that topic, I recommend this excellent video from Racevic titled I'm Jealous of Warhammer. Link below the like button. Anyway, Warhammer Skulls had some pretty awesome stuff. First up, we learned that Inquisitor Martyr was coming to next-gen consoles later this year. That was a pretty interesting spin on the ARPG formula since it was a lot slower and more methodical. It was pretty rough around the edges, but it was still a good time. I hadn't heard about this one, but apparently this was revealed a while back. It's a 2D platforming shoot-'em-up set in the Warhammer 40k universe. It has an art style that you don't see too often with this franchise, and the soundtrack is kinda sick. It's called Shooters, Blood and Teeth, and it's out sometime this year. There's actually a demo out on Steam right now, so you can actually check this out for yourself. Warpforge is a collectible card game set in the 40k universe. It will be free to play, as all of those collectible card games are, and there's no release window for this one yet. Without question, the most hype announcement of the showcase was this one.
To claim relics unthinkable. To thwart threats unnumbered. And I, too, come the day I dread, will leave this mission to you, my heir.
This is Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader, and it's a CRPG set in the 40k universe, but get this, it's being made by Owlcat Games, the team behind the much-loved Pathfinder series, a series that established a very firm footing in the newly revived CRPG landscape. This sort of talent combined with this sort of license, packaged in a very niche but beloved genre, it really is ticking a hell of a lot of boxes. Even non-Warhammer people are pumped for this one, myself included. While Rogue Trader appeared to our highbrow sensibilities, Bolt Gun appeals to our more base instincts, and a brief look at the gameplay will show you why. Bolt Gun is basically old school Doom meets 40k, and it's a combination that makes so much sense that you'll wonder why no one has thought of it before. We don't have any other details on this one yet, other than it's out next year. This, along with Rogue Trader, may make me a Warhammer fan yet. That's a lot of reveals, so let's do a quick lightning round to finish off the news block. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is headed to Steam. The COD titles have lived on the Battle.net launcher for a long ass time, but now a recent data mine revealed that the game was making its way to the PC Master Race HQ. The leak was basically confirmed by Valve, who did a side-eyes glance towards it in a tweet. We can essentially lock this one in for when the game launches on October 28th. You thought the fight against loot boxes was over? Well, think again, because this week 18 European consumer groups have co-signed a Norwegian report calling for a ban on deceptive game design. I like it. Timely given the recent arrival of Diablo Immortal, and don't worry, we'll certainly be talking more about that one soon. And finally, it seems like we're in the midst of a renaissance of handheld gaming, and no, I don't mean Diablo Immortal. I'm talking about all the new handheld consoles coming out right now and in the future. We all knew about the Steam Deck, of course, and that thing's going from strength to strength as Valve continues to roll out updates. This week, we also learned about a new entrant in the field, the Air Neo Air, a smaller, lighter, less powerful Linux-based PC that's going to be a very good deal for those interested in indie games or emulation, since they're targeting a $289 price tag. The other one is the Evercade EXP. Evercade VS is a retro gaming console that plays licensed cartridges, and now they're looking to make those same cartridges playable on the go with a sleek-looking handheld. There's no specifics on when this one might ship, but you can sign up for updates on their website. I recommend doing so because this sort of high-end retro hardware has a habit of selling out really fast. So, what got announced or delayed this week? Well, it had earlier been leaked and then confirmed, and now we've got a release date. Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed is heading to all platforms bar the Switch on August 30th. The announcement comes hot on the heels of the release of Destroy All Humans Clone Carnage, which is a standalone multiplayer DLC based on the remaster of the first game. Obviously, THQ have big plans for this franchise, otherwise they wouldn't be digging so deep to rescue this old content, so I do wonder if we'll see a Destroy All Humans 3 announced at some point in the future. Escape from Tarkov has long held a reputation for being one of the most hardcore, intimidating, and impenetrable competitive shooting experiences you could endure. The kind of game to put hairs on your chest and everywhere else. It's always been an extraction-based experience, and now it looks like developer Battlestate Games is exploring a new angle, Team Deathmatch. This week they announced Escape from Tarkov Arena, which uses the same engine, weapon, equipment, and more, only now it's put towards glorious round-based arena shooting mayhem. Think Call of Duty, only with slower movement and with way faster time to kill. No date for this one yet since it's just a teaser, but I'll keep you posted as more details come to light. Assassin's Creed Origins just got a surprise next-gen update. The first AC to reboot the formula, Origins is looked back on rather fondly for its constrained 40-hour length and its surprisingly compelling leading character. Subsequent games would become bigger, longer, and more monetized, so the halo above Origins continues to grow ever larger. Larger still now that you can play it at 60 FPS on PS5 and both Xbox Series consoles. It's a free update, and it's also out on Game Pass this week, so it's high fives all round on this one. Not so for Ubisoft's other sand-based adventure game, the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake. This one kind of bombed when it made its reveal a while back with some very outdated visuals. It then got stuck in development development hell for the longest time, suffering delay after delay. Just last month, development of the game was taken off Ubisoft's India-based studios and handed back to Ubisoft Montreal. They weren't specific on when the game would ship, but this week we got a little bit more clarity on that when GameStop started reaching out to pre-order customers to offer them a refund on their pre-order. This led many to suspect that the remake had been canned, but Ubisoft did clarify that it was still in development, but that it's unlikely to ship in 2023. That means it's hitting shelves in 2024 at the earliest, and that is crazy. It's a timeline that rivals Beyond Good and Evil 2, a game that I still don't think will ever be released, and Ghost Recon Frontline, which is still suspiciously missing in action after its disastrous reveal last year. Remember that one? Remember Ubisoft Quartz? Man, that feels like so long ago, and it was only like 6 months. That's how fast that shit died. Love it. So what came out last week? Well, kicking things off was that moody, broody, monochromatic exploration game Silt. Looked great in the lead up to release, and the good news is that it seems to have delivered. Steam reviews put it at around 68% mixed, but critics have anointed it a strong 76, a lucky number as any Bethesda fan will tell you. Game Informer seem to have a love-hate relationship with this one, scoring it a 7.8 and saying, quote, "Because of everything that is spectacular about Silt, its stunning art style, atmospheric environments, and pensive story, I wanted to love this game. It just wouldn't let me. Exasperating puzzles with little guidance frequently slowed my progress to a halt and left me banging my head against a wall," end quote. Leap is that PvE, PvP first-person shooter I've been keeping an eye on for a while now. It hit early access this week, but Steam reviews aren't painting a rosy picture, with the game sitting at a mixed 52%. Reviews generally point to a raft of technical issues, indicating that the game probably wasn't ready for the early access label, but other reviews do point to a fun core gameplay loop, so this might be one to check back on in a few months' time after some bug fixes roll through. Card Shark is a narrative-led poker game with a classy art style. It's from Devolver Digital, who very rarely miss, and this one is no exception. Steam reviews are in love with this one. It's currently sitting at a very positive 91%, while critics have it at a strong 80. Game Central scored it an 8, saying, quote, "A wonderfully unique historical adventure whose seemingly simple gameplay is made wonderfully tense by artful presentation and a sharp script," end quote. And then we get to Diablo Immortal. Okay, so I'm playing through this one right now. I've seen a lot of reviews for the game from people who have played like 3 hours of it. I'm yet to see a proper review that talks about the complete leveling experience, the endgame loop, the PvP, the social systems, all of it. I don't think that review exists yet because the game has only been out for a few days and that isn't enough time to properly evaluate all of that stuff. That's the process I'm going through now. At the same time, I have seen all the articles and YouTube videos and Asmongold clips showcasing how hilariously pay-to-win this game is. There's plenty of uncontested math out there that shows that a fully maxed out endgame build in Diablo Immortal will set players back some 100,000 actual dollars. If that is true, and I can't confirm it for myself, but if that is true, then this is the most egregiously monetized video game that core gamers have ever had to contend with. Mobile gamers? Sure, they're used to this stuff. Star Citizen backers? 100 grand is chump change for them. They're like, oh, so cheap, it must be a sale on. But for people who play Blizzard games, Halo, Battlefield, Dark Souls, they buy the odd indie game every now and then. People who watch this channel, right? This appears to be the most monetized game that we have ever actually had to care about, since it's based on an IP that made many of us the sweaty nerds that we are today. So, what do I think about all this? A lot of things. But that discussion is like a 20-minute video in and of itself, and we don't have time for that now. I think it sucks, obviously. I don't know anyone who loves this hobby and would be like, oh yeah, $100,000 for a build. That sounds like a fair price. But the truth is, I never really expected it to be that much different from this because the mobile game market is this right the way through, and the ARPG genre is so ripe for monetization that it was kind of like a doomed concoction from the start. I had held out the faintest glimmer of hope that Blizzard would have shown some restraint here, but I've been genuinely surprised by just how avaricious this product has ended up becoming. I am stunned to see how far Blizzard have taken this, and it didn't need to be this way. This was a choice they made, a deeply disappointing choice, but I'll talk more about it if I ever end up doing the review of the game. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, that sucks, but what about stuff to look forward to in the future? Cool things that we can get excited about, or stuff that's coming out this week. Brave is the video game choosing to release in the same week of Key 3, by the way, since news of their launch is all but certain to be drowned out by a cacophony of AAA blockbuster reveals. Having said that, a handful of games are brave enough to run the gauntlet this week, and for that, I salute them. First to take the plunge is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 arriving on Nintendo Switch on the 8th. This was a surprise announcement as part of the recent Star Wars Celebration Festival, but a welcome one, as the passage of time has afforded Obsidian's classic a more universal acclaim after its initially mixed reception at launch. One type of game that's pretty immune to the ebb and flow of hype cycles is anything with Mario's face on the box, and this week we're getting another one in the form of Mario Strikers Battle League. It's a Mario soccer game where the rules don't really matter that much, and so long as you can find some friends to play with, you're almost certainly going to have a good time. The final game here this week is Supermassive's The Quarry. This is the spiritual successor to the Until Dawn series, and it's set in a summer camp where a group of ill-fated campers, voiced by an all-star cast, are about to make all the wrong decisions. Or all the right decisions, it's entirely up to you. Previews for this one hit a while back, and they were all very positive. People loved what they saw, and they were keen for more. Interesting that this one has a movie mode, allowing you to watch the entire game unfold without having to touch the controller, consistent with the whole horror movie vibe this one is going for. It's also Supermassive's thing, they love doing that. Lots of reasons to be excited for this one if you're into narrative-led experiences or horror games. It's hitting all platforms bar the Switch on the 10th. Hey, put this on your radar. Madshot is a game I only recently heard about when I saw some screenshots for it, and I was like, it looks pretty cool. It wasn't until I saw this thing in motion that I was fully on board. Madshot takes a Cthulhu-inspired aesthetic and then makes it sing with some sick, dual-wielding, trenchcoat-wearing, tentacle-faced mayhem. Look at these animations, man. Look how smooth this action is. The whole thing just flows so nicely that you can't help but want to reach out for a controller and play it for yourself. The good news is that you can, since the game launches into early access this week on the 9th of June. In fact, they're going to be launching a demo at around the same time as part of the Steam Next Fest, so you can try it for yourself before you buy. Really hoping this one delivers the goods, because it'd be a shame for a game that looks this fun to disappoint. If you are keen to check this one out, then be sure to wishlist it on Steam ahead of its June 9th launch. I'll leave a link below the like button. Sort of free stuff time now, and we're just through the first week of the month, which means that all of the sort of free lineups have been revealed and are available. Epic is still packing serious heat. We had Borderlands 3, then we had Bioshock Collection, and now we've got Wolfenstein: The New Order. Machine Game's masterful revival of the FPS game that started it all can be yours for the low price of $0.00. That is until June 10th, when a new mystery game will be revealed. All of the mystery games have been pretty solid so far, so there's every reason to suspect that Uncle Tim will keep the good times rolling. Xbox Games with Gold program continues to hobble along as the rest of the industry speeds past it. Right now you can grab Avon Colony and Project High-Rise for the Xbox One, and Rascals and Super Meat Boy for the Xbox 360. Interestingly, this is the original version of Super Meat Boy with the OG soundtrack, so it's kind of a nice thing to have in your library, if only for its semi-collectible status. Game Pass has seemed to have survived the mass exodus of 3 journalists saying that they are unsubscribing. Game Pass endures, and this month it's in fine form indeed. We've already spoken about Assassin's Creed Origins arriving on the service complete with a next-gen update. That isn't the only Ubi title in the mix though. For Honor Marching Fire Edition is also arriving. For Honor is actually pretty awesome. It may look like a third-person action game, but I can assure you that this is a fighting game, and a really good one if you can be bothered to invest the time to get good at it, because just dipping your toe into this one means you're going to get your bell rung hard and often. Chorus also arrives on Game Pass. This is an arcade space flyer RPG hybrid that met fairly solid reviews when it arrived last year. Disc Room is one of those games you play when you want a super hard 2D platforming experience, and the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection is one of those games you play when you want a super hard 3D beat-em-up experience, so enjoy yourself. To finish up, this month's PS Plus lineup is now available. For PS4 owners, you can get your hands on Naruto to Boruto, Shinobi Striker, That title sounds made up to me, but I am not a Naruto or a Boruto fan, so what would I know? 2018's underrated hidden gem God of War is also sort of free this week for PS4 owners. One of the defining sad dad experiences, God of War rewrote the violent, crotchety, promiscuous Kratos into a violent, crotchety, grieving widow. It sounds like a bummer, but it's actually a really good time, trust me. Plus, there's a sequel coming later this year, probably, maybe, and this is absolutely required reading for that one since God of War Ragnarok will conclude the story arc that began with this 2018 game. Finally, and this is very well timed indeed, PS4 and PS5 owners are getting Nickelodeon's All-Star Brawl this month. When this game launched, it met with pretty average reviews because it didn't have any voice acting, leading the whole thing to feel rather lifeless since these characters aren't much without their voices. Announced literally today, All-Star Brawl is getting a free update that adds voice acting to, I think, the entire cast of characters. That is huge, and it absolutely gives this game a whole new lease on life, especially considering that servers will be flooded with people playing this because Sony are giving it away. Very smart play, given that the free-to-play Multiverses is coming soon. Competition is heating up in this post-Smash era, so it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top. Our feel-good story for the week is absolument magnifique, or as we gamers like to call it, poggers. To my French viewers, I apologize profusely for debasing your great language, crudely translating it into disgusting gamer talk. But the good news is that I won't be able to get away with that for much longer because the French government is banning a whole bunch of gamer words. That's right, mes terribles enfants. The French government are very serious about something they call language purity, and they see the seeping influence of our uncultured gamer speak and they aren't having it. The Guardian has the story, quote, "The culture ministry, which is involved in the process, told the AFP the video game sector was rife with anglicisms that could act as a barrier to understanding for non-gamers," end quote. That's why government bodies, educational institutions, and businesses will be forced to adopt French terminologies when talking about video games. For example, the term pro gamer becomes joueur professionnel, which translates to professional player, which means something quite different in English. That's not all though. Again from The Guardian, quote, "Among several terms to be given official French alternatives were cloud gaming, which becomes jeux vidéo et nuage, and esports, which will now be translated as jeux vidéo de compétition." Hope you like my French on that one. Personally, I think this is all overkill. I think it would be fine if you said the same words, but you said it in a really thick French accent. So streamer would become streamer, and microtransaction would become microtransaction, and sexual harassment would become Ubisoft. Too much on that one? Absolument pas. Guys, this week is going to be a little different as I am going to be throwing together a few different shows to cover the Summer Games Fest in real time. We don't want to have to save up an entire week's worth of announcements and reveals and do them all in one big 2-hour video next week. That would suck. So we're going to break it up a little. Do expect some bumper editions of This Week in Video Games to come your way. If you are keen for that, and if you want to know the minute those videos go live, then the best thing you can do is subscribe to the channel and ding the notification bell. That way, nothing's getting past you, including the launch of the podcast, which will happen next week. And my God, I am so pumped for that. Amazing week ahead. I hope you will join me for it. A big thanks for watching the video, and a big high five to this video sponsor, Ridge Wallet. It's a Ridge Racer reference. Hope you like that one. Bye-bye. Depending on which country you live in, Father's Day may be coming up for you pretty soon. I know the Yanks have it on January 19th, and since like 70% of my audience is in America, let me ask you this. Have you got your dad a present? No? Well, what are you gonna do? You're gonna do the old socks and boxes combo? Come on now. A bottle of whiskey? Maybe, but your dad's probably had a few of those over the years. Wallets used to fall into the same category of been there, done that sort of present, but no longer, since the wallet of the future is here and its name is Ridge Wallet. I know we've all seen Ridge Wallet on other YouTube channels. They're big into the whole influencer marketing thing. Truth is, I bought a Ridge Wallet maybe 2 years ago, and I've been using it every day since. For real, it has been my go-to wallet because I love the really sleek, minimalist design, the flat profile, and the durability. I did a Ridge Wallet shout out a few months back, and the response was so positive that Ridge Wallet emailed me, and they're like, "Hey, Father's Day, how about it?" And I'm like, hell yeah. Let's bring some joy to some dads' lives Save them from another year of those Axe body spray packs. Ridge wallet comes in a variety of styles and materials. Recently they sent me some new wallets to check out with some different colors. I got the very Batman-esque carbon fiber and matte black ones made out of titanium. This one is my favorite though. It's called North Shore and it's been my daily driver ever since. I just really like the design of this one. Ridge wallets can hold all of your cards, well, within reason, and they have different options for the back, including both a money clip and an elastic money strap. I prefer the strap personally. They're an extremely comfortable and durable means of keeping your cards and cash safe. Those bulky leather wallets, I simply can't imagine going back to one of those now. This just sits so much more comfortably on the body, you notice it less, and they just look cooler. Your dad would never think to buy himself something like this because he probably doesn't even know it exists. His wallet is probably 30 years old. It has a suspicious circular ring imprint on it, a reminder of his long past glory days. Upgrade your dad's wallet or just treat yourself by visiting ridge.com/skillup and use offer code SKILLUP at checkout. That code will net you a full 15% off, but only if you order quickly because it is a Father's Day sale. That's offer code SKILLUP at ridge.com/skillup. Thanks Ridge for sponsoring the video and thank you for watching it.